And by them denying jihad, jihad is the sixth pillar of Islam. There are 5 pillars of Islam. You can't add to these 5 pillars, nor can you subtract. However, the scholars of Islam say if there should be a 6th pillar in Islam, that 6th pillar would have been jihad. So by they denying jihad, they have apostated from Islam. However, can a Barelvi apostate from Islam? Is it possible? It's not possible for a Barelvi to apostate from Islam because he doesn't have anything to apostate from. He has nothing to apostate from. He was already a kafir. He has nothing to apostate from. The same thing as Salman Rushdie. Salman Rushdie is Ismaili. Therefore, he is an original kafir. He doesn't have anything to apostate from. And Ismailis, they believe that a man is halal for a man to cohabit with his mother and his sister. Inshallah ta'ala will produce a separate sit-in called The Devil's Deception of the Ismaili, if they deserve to be refuted. They are the lowest of the low. Maybe we shouldn't spend time refuting them. They are the lowest of the low. So the Barelvi claim that if you wage jihad, you are disgracing Islam and Muslims, and you are a troublemaker. And there are still today movements in India and Pakistan who deny jihad, and if you wage jihad, they claim that you are a troublemaker and you are disgracing Islam and Muslims. Also, even though England colonized India and replaced the Sharia which was there with colonial laws and method against the Muslims, mutiny, pillage, massacre, hang the ulama, the Barelvi passed a fatwa that India is Darul Islam and not Darul Harb, and that the imperial power of the imperialistic government of India and in India is a legitimate government, and you should not wage jihad against it. So the same aqidah that Mirza Ghulam Ahmad had for jihad, that it should be abolished, the Barelvis, they have the exact same aqidah. And as I said before, the shaikh of the Barelvi was the brother of Mirza Ghulam Ahmad. So they drank from the exact same fountain. Another part of this treatise has been devoted to explain a lie that the monotheists, who they call Wahhabi, are apostates, and that it is not lawful to leave jizya against them. So they said that you can take jizya from Wahhabis. You take jizya from Jews and Christians. But as for the Wahhabis, the monotheists, they call you and I the monotheists, you can't. We can't collect jizya from you. You have to be killed. So you have to kill the Wahhabis wherever you find them. You can't take jizya from them. So they put us beneath the Christians and the Jews. And as I said before, they hate you more than how they hate Hindus and Sikhs, those Barelvis. It further states that permanent protection cannot be granted to them. It is lawful to enslave their women, and it is not lawful to marry them. So you won't find marriages taking place between Deobandis and Barelvis, because they brand the Deobandis as Wahhabis. So the Barelvis, they called us Ghustaq Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, traitors to the Prophet. You don't love the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So they will never intermarry between us. Also, he passed a fatwa that the Turkish Empire, the Ottoman Empire, is a bastard empire, illegitimate. Why? Because the Turks, they are not Arabs. So if you're not an Arab, how can you be caliph? And for you to be a caliph, you have to be not just an Arab, but from Quraysh. You have to be from the lineage of Quraysh. So he passed a fatwa that not a single Muslim from India should help the Turks to fight against the British and protect the Khilafah system. So the Barelvis, they relinquished the Turks. They did not help the Turks against the British. They said that that caliphate of the Turks is a bastard caliphate. It is illegitimate because the Turks are not Arabs. And for you to be a caliph, you have to be an Arab, not just an Arab, but from Quraysh, the Prophet's tribe, Quraysh. So since the Turks are not Arabs, much less to be from Quraysh, do not help them against the British. So they did not help the Turks against the British, and he passed a fatwa that not a single Indian Muslim should rise up and fight the British and help the Turks, because that caliphate doesn't deserve to be in existence. So at all times he passed fatwas that were pro-British. The Barelvi, he is always pro-British in his fatwas. They announced that the Indians should boycott all sorts of transactions. Now this is the classical scholars of India. The classical scholars of India announced that the Indians should boycott all sorts of transactions with the British imperialists and avoid them, and should completely sever all their connections with the British imperialist government. They should not obey them, nor participate in their affairs. They should not pay taxes to the British and customs duty to them, nor should they accept any facilities from them. They should not bring their lawsuits to them for redress. So you should take it to the Islamic Sharia rather than to the British courthouse. Nor should they accept their scholarships to study abroad. The Hindus who sought freedom of India also cooperated with them. Now the Hindus in India who were seeking liberation from the British, freedom from the British, they cooperated with the Muslims in this fatwa, that they should not cooperate with the British. Non-cooperation. This fatwa was called the non-cooperation fatwa. Even Gandhi participated and accepted the fatwa and did not cooperate with the British. Gandhi implemented his fatwa to the extent where he didn't even wear clothes coming from England. He used to make his own clothes. But the Barelvis, the scholars of the eminent Indian politician Gandhi also participated in the fatwa. He accepted the fatwa, even though he was a Hindu. This resulted in a great revolt against the imperialism, an unparalleled revolt not witnessed after the revolt 1857, which is called the mutiny. All the Muslim parties, their leaders and ulama participated in this movement except the Barelvis. So all the people participated, all the people in India participated to kick the British out and not to cooperate with them. Only the Barelvis did not participate. The Barelvis were always pro-British in their fatwas, pro-British in their outlook. As usual, they did not partake in this national movement. But on the contrary, they are hurried in issuing their fatwa against the persons responsible for these movements in order to stand by the imperialism and to help the imperialists. They cry out that non-cooperation movement against the British was cruel, and those who passed the fatwa, they were kafirs, and such a fatwa was haram to be passed. So this was the stance of the Barelvis in regards to this fatwa, which was passed by the eminent scholars of the Indian subcontinent. So there should be absolutely no doubt in your hearts, brothers and sisters, that this Barelvi movement is a concoction from the British Empire, the same way the British concocted the Kafir movement of the Ahmadiyya Qadiani movement. The Muslims were being boycotted and disgraced while the imperialists were being befriended and helped. Hence the famous English writer Francis Robinson has put in his work Separatism Among the Indian Muslims, in page 443 of his book, Separatism Among Indian Muslims, that the Barelvis supported the British government. So he praised the Barelvi movement. The Barelvis supported the British government. They continued their support till the Khilafah movement in 1921, and holding a conference in Barelvi, which is the city of the Barelvi. He gathered in this conference those ulama who were against the non-cooperation movement and those who wield a great influence on the public and the Muslim students. So this British author, he praised the Barelvi movement, claiming that they were always supportive of the British Empire. Now why is it that the British were able to go to India and find a man who has some knowledge, a so-called scholar, pay him to start this movement, the way they paid Mirza Ghulam Ahmad? Now they paid the Barelvi to start this movement. The answer for this is clear. Whenever a man has some Islamic knowledge and he is